Good morning. So I thought I'd do a vlog on the Silverfest. Well, I just fished at Stafford Moor, so I had a 5-day festival trying to catch silvers. Didn't do the best, to be honest. So I've done a video if you want to watch that. So I've done some like clips of each day, so it's 30 minutes. Didn't want to make it, I didn't feel it needed to be any longer, but like maybe this video would be good because it might go in more depth. I don't know, some people when they watch videos just want to see a little bit of action. Some people want to obviously want to see like, want to get something from it, as in learn something from it. So hopefully this vlog will help you learn something about Stafford Moor. So tip 1, draw well. Gotta be lucky. Don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, gotta be lucky. And then after that, obviously make the most of what you've got. So especially if you are on a great draw, so make sure you don't obviously waste the peg, you know what I mean? So you get some good anglers or great anglers that do really well on average pegs, and then when they draw the good pegs they just destroy it. So also crassios are very, 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 very important on Tanner's Lake. So that's quite a bit of feeder fishing. So when I first went down, I thought, oh, you know, catch loads of skimmers or crassios. But to be honest with Tanner's, it's, you need to catch crassios really. Don't get me wrong, there is skimmers and stuff in there, but crassios definitely have dominated all this week. And then last year, I'm pretty sure, 99.9% sure, that crassios again dominated. Normally, like cage feeders, I'm not sure exactly what the crack is with the crassios. My experience, like you've got to fish a 50 centimeter hook length anyway, but you know, even longer, like 75 centimeters, and then what do we call it on your twizzle boom, little 20 gram Preston ICM little cage feeder. They cast really well. Little plastic one. Obviously, it's got to be in line, but I take the inline bit out and put a stem, and that just like runs a lot nicer. Could use got like a couple of Drennan cage feeders, like to potentially put some bait out there. You know, cast it maybe 6 times, shake some bait, and then leave it. I think the good pegs. So if you draw like say 16, 17, 18, 19 flyer, 4 good peg as well, then probably want to start on the cage feeder, and I wouldn't obviously put 6 feeder falls. I just chuck out, see what happens. The crassios tend to feed potentially good to start off with, and then catch a few idiot ones if you're really lucky, and then catch a few idiot ones late. But a lot of the anglers did fish for crassios pretty much all match. So like Stu, fair play, just fished a feeder all match, didn't even bother getting up a pole, so fair play to him. Could come third, so fair play. So single maggot, you could fish maybe a little bit of worm mash. Some anglers are saying that, you know, very dry mix, so with a longer tail, obviously it just comes out, and sometimes you get like instant bites. So hopefully that helps. Hooks wise, I just fish like for me personally, I fish like a 22 or a 20 F1 Guru pellet hook. I know some anglers might fish a larger hook, but for me, I just like tiny hooks, to be honest with you. And obviously, what's really, really, really important again is having quite a soft rod, because they're notorious for coming off. So make sure your hooks are really sharp. So Guru hooks are good. I'm not sponsored by Guru. And then want a soft rod, and there's loads of great feeder rods that are soft, but you definitely need it soft. Otherwise, you might pull your hair out. And the weights are so tight, so losing fish and stuff can prove to be really costly. So hopefully that helps. Skimmers wise, like with Tanner's, like worm mush, like cut it to nothing, fishing dead or live maggots over the top, maybe little tiny worms. So like what I done was I brought some worms from Willis, so got a couple of like kilos of normal dens, and then got the little tiny ones. Yeah, they're quite expensive, 26 quid a kilo, but little tiny worms potentially going to get you more bites. And obviously when bites are at a premium, then obviously you know, you want to maximize your chances, because like last day I drew Tanner's, I've had 4 fish or 5 fish for £2.5, you know, and bites were, apart from carp, were very, very few and far between. So you're trying to obviously maximise your chances of getting bites. Tanners is deeper on, like, it seems like on the like lawn, they call the lawn, so pegs like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's probably coming off the lawns then. That's a bit deeper than the other bank. So like 14 tanners is probably a good 1.5 foot shallower. So for those who don't know, it's probably maybe 4.5, 5 foot max. Whereas the other bank's probably a good 6 foot, maybe a tiny bit more. So bear that in mind. And again, with pole rigs, I fished 040 mainline and then 08 hook lengths, and I can't believe the amount of carp that you've actually landed on 08. Because if you'd done that in a normal sort of match, you would have no chance of getting them out. So yeah, well, I suppose balance tackling it. So fishing at 1 mil hybrids, there's loads of good hybrids, just make sure it's well lubed. I use the Maver stuff. I don't know what it is about white elastics, they just seem to last a lot longer. Don't know, look at white hydro. I just like that white Maver stuff. So 1 mil hybrid through a whole top kit, so there's plenty of elastic, so it's nice and soft. You can set it a little bit springy, and then obviously up the carp and they just fly off. I think if you used it maybe through a short kit on tanners or woodpecker, you'd be in trouble. Whereas fishing it on pines, and that would be fine through a short kit, because I don't believe there's, well, I think there's a couple of carp in there, but very, very few and far between. I feel like gabbling on a little bit, but anyway, we'll carry on. So there's a bit of an insight of tanners. So tanners definitely want to draw like in the middle. So like for me, favourable pegs would be like 4, 5, 17 to be fair, 17, 18 and 20. That was definitely the favourable area to be on the lake, especially with that wind the way it was blowing. So I think we talked about tanners. Pines. Now pines, there was some netting, so they took a lot of the fish out of the Spessy lakes and stuck it into pines. So pines was a lot of roach in it.
There's a mobile speed camera reported ahead.
Oh, I never speed anyway. Sat navs. So pines took loads of they took loads of fish out of the Spessy lakes and stuck them in pines. So there was a lot of decent sized roach. And these roach tend to be sort of like in numbers. On the first day, they were like low numbers. So 5 has had like 30 pound of roach and 9 pound of skimmers. 4, 1, there was a lot of roach. So the early numbers had quite a lot of roach on them. For whatever reason, they weren't all over the lake. I guess shoalfish just shoaling up. Then the other pegs you were fishing for skimmers. And to be fair, some of the skimmers are quite a good stamp. Now, day 2, I was lucky to draw pines. I drew peg 5. Which is obviously an absolute screamer. It won day 1, won day 2, so actually won a match for a change, and then day 3 it won. Now obviously whoever drew it on day 4 probably felt a bit of pressure, but you got to think skimmers probably hadn't been like to be caught, you know, 3 days on the bounce. So yeah, it was still a good peg, but maybe it wasn't as strong. And I like day 4, peg 4 won the lake. So I felt
there's a mobile
maybe
speed camera reported ahead.
So maybe whatchamacallit, it was better to draw that area, because 4 you catch roach to the left and then catch skimmers potentially to your right. To catch skimmers on pines, worms, a lot of people cut up a lot of worms, but I wasn't so sure, to be honest. Like I felt ground bait and maggots was quite a sort of safe bet, because the water's been so cold. We've had a lot of like a couple of frosts, you know, and even the mild days on Monday and Tuesday was never gonna lift that water temperature up loads. But then we've had 3 frosts, real cold wind. It was proper Baltic. It really was very cold, especially on the last day on tanners. So going back to pines, let's get some structure to the video. So pines, I felt like, you know, a sort of sweet sort of fish meal. I darkened it off. I mean, for me, I used like seafood, the Spander mix, and I used some sweet fish meal from like Hinders. But there's, you know, I'm not saying that's the best mix ever. I like it. If I didn't, I wouldn't use it. But obviously there's loads of other good ground baits out there. So something that's a little bit fish milly, because you got to think that all them roach and skimmers that come out, and then especially lakes, they don't get fed freaking Lake 3000, you know, or any other recommended sweet sort of ground bait biscuity. So bear that in mind. Pines can be quite deep, to up to like sort of 7, maybe even 8 foot. And for me, a lot of it's sort of like pole work. The bay, so pegs like 8, 9, 10, 11, that can throw out the feeder. Maybe 18 and 20, because it gets a lot wider. Maybe you want to fish a feeder there. You don't really want to draw 18 or 20, to be fair. That hasn't been a good area, even though you got a little bit of room. But yeah, I don't know why, fish don't seem to want to be there for some reason. And yet one's I think a great peg, but why ain't 20 a great peg? So yeah, pole work mainly, fishing for skimmers and roach, very few carp, so happy days. It makes it a lot easier with feeding, because you know then the carp ain't come in, what have the carp done to your bait. You know, I feel like Pines is a much more sort of structured match, and you know what's going on. You know what I mean? If you fed a bit of bait and you ain't really caught anything, then you ain't gonna top it up. Whereas like Tanner's nightmare last day, carp, and I'm thinking, right, now I don't get a bite, you got to feed it again, ain't you? Right? You know, so I fed it again, and you got it, carp, and you got to fish through it, hoping you could catch skimmers, but that didn't happen. So yeah, so what I'm getting at, I feel Pines is a lot more simpler in my opinion. Same as Woodpecker. Woodpecker's full of carp as well. So again, more skimmers. I feel like a bit more pole work comes into it. There are crassios get caught on pegs like 11 seems very good, 12 seems very good. They were the only sort of pegs that seem to throw up crassios, in all fairness. And you know, the weather ain't been great. I know there's other pegs that potentially can throw them up, but for whatever reason they seem to sit on them pegs definitely this week. And again, little cage feeders, longer hook lengths, you know, fishing like quite light 012 in my opinion. You know, some anglers might even fish lighter 010, but then 010 winding it back, you know, spinning up, you know, it's not going to be as stiff. Yeah, I thought 012 is light enough. Be interesting to see if Des does like a proper sort of like write up and stuff, because obviously he's got that sort of proper stuff. Sussed. Obviously he does like Facebook reports and that. But it'd be nice if he'd done something like more in depth, because obviously I don't know the answers. And that's about it. Woodpecker, similar sort of depths, sort of like 6 foot. Some of it's a bit shallower, like Ryan drew peg 3, fish to his right, he reckons it's a bit more shallower, so it's like 4.5 foot to his right. And that's it really. I can't really say much else. There was skimmers caught short on like a top kit on certain pegs as well, and certain anglers sort of done that, so that's definitely something bearing in mind, like literally fishing a top kit just past sort of like your keep net, because it's still a good 4 foot on pretty much all the pegs, so it's not like it's stupidly shallow. But obviously you could hook a few carp, but then you hook carp out long, and maybe fishing like shorter as well, better, because you're not fishing potentially on silt and stuff, and therefore, you know, fish just sort of potentially feed a lot better on a harder bottom. I mean, Vinship won a section catching skimmers down his edge apparently with casters and stuff. So yeah, casters very important, red maggots very important, worms very important, and then obviously volume of bait, what you feed is obviously important. Yeah, if you want to watch the videos of actually me fishing, there they are. And then hopefully this video was helpful. I'll catch you soon.